The Tale of Rhy Shen, Chapter 7, Aeonbound.
You.
From the shadows, she emerged. Her limbs curved with impossible grace. Each movement was a fluid, almost ritualistic dance. Fine chains draped from her wrists, tracing delicate patterns across her chest, glinting faintly in the dim light of the empty tavern. The air around her rippled as she stepped forward.
You.
Rhy Shen held his breath, not moving an inch. The primal knowledge that a single mistake could mean death struck him.
It's the Aeonbound Mistress. Don't move, kid. Just don't move.
M whispered from the speech bug, as quiet as he could.
You fool shouldn't have mentioned the... you know what. You are done, kid. It was nice knowing you.
Time itself slowed to watch the mistress pass. Her features were exquisitely divine, but her gaze was strict and reproachful, as though she scolded him for a fault he hadn't dared to commit. Rhy Shen's pulse raced under her silent command. Ugh. She pulled Rhy Shen in, drawing him closer even as every instinct screamed to flee. Rhy Shen had braced for a beast, a mercenary, a deadly assassin. But this woman, she was something else entirely. There was no violence, yet, but the danger was undeniable. Every breath of hers pulled him closer to the edge, teasing his focus and testing his restraint.
You talk too much, human.
In that impossible, electric instant, the urge to touch her almost outran the fear of dying. A dark pull from deep inside made Rhy Shen want to test himself against her, even as every ounce of reason warned him not to. She curved her lips into a smile that promised pain and pleasure in the same breath. Without warning, she slashed him. Rhy Shen dodged the strike by inches, but then she raised a second weapon and slashed him from the other side.
Please
He
don't!
used his hammer to shield himself. In her hands were two pitch-black weapons, shaped like crescent moons with two thorny edges each. They moved like claws in a predator's grip and struck Rhy Shen's light sledgehammer with a fatal clang that shook his bones.
You shall talk no more.
The blow hit with unimaginable force. Shockwaves raced up his arms, burning with every nerve. In an instant, his body shattered, dissolving into the thick, swirling smoke of the tavern. He flowed through the room like dust, flesh and shadow streaming over tables and chairs. Particle by particle, the air stitched Rhy Shen back together. The thorn-crowned devil lady watched him, her gaze sharp, playful, and unsettlingly curious.
Where is everyone? Why are you attacking me?
Rhy Shen asked as soon as he could move his lips. His voice was tight, still paralyzed from fear and awe. Her answer came without words. She tossed her claws aside and lifted a hand in nonchalance. Instantly, a swirl of fire erupted around her, rolling over him like the wave had only hours before, hard and relentless. Every inch of the tavern set fire and scorched into pitch-black coal.
Ha 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 ha! You can't touch me with fire, witch!
He withstood the flames, unmoving as they licked and curled around him.
Ha 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 ha!
The mistress remained unimpressed. Her lips quirked into a slow, knowing smile, a spark of temptation dancing in her eyes.
You don't burn? Magnificent. Let's see where you break.
Deliberate and teasing, she lifted a tiny, sapphire-blue bottle between the tips of her fingers. With a casual flick, she sent it spinning into the shadows. It hit the ceiling with a sharp crack. Lightning lashed out, a gale erupted, and the room was swallowed by the storm trapped inside the tiny vessel. The storm's sheer brutality ripped a jagged maw through the wall, and Rhy Shen's fragile body was swept into the night like scattered ash. The wind-slashed chaos of the tavern spilled into the open square, and Rhy Shen with it. Splinters and shards rained through the air, and at the center of it all, the black-haired devil woman lingered, her dark amusement gleaming as she reveled in the chaos she had wrought. Outside, the street panicked. No one had ever seen such power unleashed in the heart of the city. And above it all, she waited, already anticipating Rhy Shen's return, a dark smile playing on her lips as she surveyed the chaos she had wrought. Before his shape fully took form, she took the word, her voice low and teasing.
Delicate.
She murmured, quietly pleased.
You're slippery.
Rhy Shen's eyes frantically darted around.
Where is everyone? What have you done to the lizards?
Her smile deepened, openly cruel.
You're about to find out.
With a movement almost too fast to see, she produced another small, ornate bottle. This one was pitch black.
Ah!
At first, it was only his fingers that began to dissolve, fading into smoke on the wind. Then, impossibly fast, his entire arm unraveled. Each particle of ethereal flesh spun wildly around the bottle before finally sinking into its opening for good.
Run, kid, run! She's about to bottle you up.
M's warning crackled urgently through the speech bug. For the first time in nearly 1,000 years, Rhy Shen felt the true, icy grip of death. In a blind panic, he wrenched himself free from the lethal pull and flung his body through the jagged hole in the burning wall. Every nerve screamed as the invisible force of her power tugged behind him. Irresistible, soul-crushing, omnipresent. He clung desperately to what remained of himself, his left arm and shoulder gone forever.
Not today, witch!
For a heartbeat, it seemed as if he had stepped outside of time, glitching forward as if frames of reality had been skipped. Before the vessel's violent pull could drag him back into the tavern's inferno, he reached the plaza, where a terrified crowd had gathered to watch the chaos.
Get out of the way! I'm fucking serious! Scram!
The mistress did not even follow. She remained perfectly still in the shadows, her dark amusement flickering in her eyes as she watched him flee. He had escaped, for now. But the tiny bottle loomed in her hands like a silent, deadly promise. And the knowledge that she could claim him at any moment gnawed at him like a living beast. Rhy Shen ran through the twisting streets of Mizar, mortally terrified. The assassin mistress had cost him his hammer and his left arm. It seemed clear to him.
I doubt that she'll stop until she gets my head, too.
He ducked through the crowd, trying to melt into the shadows of the city. But everywhere he went, eyes found him. People stared with still faces, puzzled at the one-armed, ghostly bandit roaming the streets and muttering curse words under his breath. He didn't belong here, and everyone let him know. Like a drop of oil trying to hide in clear water. Through every alley of the naturally grown streets, the gazes followed him. The entire world had become a trap. He tried to scream at them, but the sound died in his throat, swallowed by the suffocating grip of their attention. He slid behind a shuttered doorway, trembling, trying to make himself small, trying to vanish.
God, that witch can keep my arm.
Even after hours of roaming the streets in fear, he dared not stop walking. The tall buildings of the inner city circle receded into the distance, and Rhy Shen glanced at the fire and the ongoing firefighting from afar. He moved along a canal that reflected the pale green moonlight. With each street he passed, the chaos seemed to fade.
Maybe I am overreacting.
Trust me. If this truly was the Aeonbound Mistress, you are not overreacting at all. Her presence means two things. One, the Aeon Fire must truly exist, since she is its protector. And the second thing, kid.
What?
You have no chance of surviving. You better throw away the speech bug now, or we are both dead as cats.
Panic surged through Rhy Shen. Every shadow under the trees lining the canal made him flinch.
She looked like she had studied me. I bet she can control thoughts. What if she sees through the eyes of other people or something, like a living Ishi mirror? What if she can see me right now? Wah!
He ducked under a low canal bridge, pressing himself against the cold stone, trying to think, trying to hide. A whisper of movement behind him made him startle. It was almost too subtle to notice. He spun around.
You.
The mistress was already there. She licked her teeth with amusement.
You are delicate.
The air thickened around her, and Rhy Shen felt the pull of the bottle again. Its irresistible force tugging at the edges of his soul. Her silky voice both fascinated and terrified him, cutting through him like a blade.
Human. You talk too much. It is my profession to erase scum like you from this world. You really thought you could hide?
Actually, he didn't think that for a second, which made his attempt to flee even more ridiculous in his eyes now. Rhy Shen realized, with a sinking certainty, that this woman was far stronger than anyone he had ever encountered. The moment she opened the tiny, ornate bottle, her irresistible presence set back in, a force that tugged at him with terrifying inevitability.
Wait.
Driven by curiosity, she stopped.
So, you are a bit furious? Because I, asked about the Aeon Fire?
The silent hatred in her eyes was bottomless.
It was, only a little joke. No one believes in it, actually.
She tipped a finger at the tiny bottle.
Never mind. No one is left to tell about this incident. No one but you.
There was no need for aggression in her presence. Her voice alone could crush his entire soul. The bottle gleamed in her hand, the swirling essence inside reflecting 1,000 broken images, the ghost of his missing arm, and the faint outlines of those who had vanished in the tavern. There was nowhere left to run, and yet the mistress tolerated Rhy Shen's presence longer than she needed to.
So, fire doesn't touch you.
She let her eyes wander across the water surface, but a subtle trace of acknowledgement in her face was impossible to miss. The way she said it almost made Rhy Shen believe he had a real reason to exist. Quickly, she went back to humiliation.
Only a joke, you say?
Rhy Shen nodded frantically.
So, you must be very funny. A comedian.
Another uncertain nod from Rhy Shen, whose eyes desperately tried to shy away. One false step, and the Aeonbound Mistress could trap him for eternity.
You get one chance, fragile human.
The mistress closed the space between them until their faces almost touched. Crescent-moon claws slid to his throat, pressing just enough to draw a thin, bloodless line.
One chance. If you fail, be aware. I'll take your head from your shoulders and seal what's left of you in my bottle.
Her expression remained perfectly cold and still, as her pupils shrunk to needlepoints that bored into him like twin spikes. He wasn't ready to die under this mossy bridge, only 6 days after entering this life, so he awaited her command. She leaned back, eyes gliding from his head to his chest, a smile dripping with malice.
Tell me a funny joke, comedian. Something truly hilarious. Make me laugh from the bottom of my heart. Go on. Unless you wish to die right here.
Her bone-dry face gave nothing away, as if mocking the very idea of emotion. Not a twitch, not a hint of mercy. Still, it radiated an almost hungry seriousness, as if she were measuring the very essence of him.
I said no.